Najee Ali, Najee Ali, Director of Project Islamic Hope, organizer for LAM, which is LA Metropolitan Churches. Today, a coalition of community leaders are here to speak out and condemn the racist and vile hate crime that this young African American mom with two children dealt with last week. We're going to have the victim speak, but this is very important. We're not here because she's African American and she's a victim of hate crime. We're here because that's what we always do. So if it was a white victim, Latino, it doesn't matter. We're here because we support victims of hate, intolerance, homophobia, anti-Semitism. We're against hate across the board.
Hi, everyone. Yes, my name is Angel. I'm currently here in San Pedro. I am a part of a program that is called Safe Park, which is located in San Pedro that helps the unhoused. I am unhoused with two children on July 31st, leaving out of the Safe Park location. We have to be out of that location at 6 o'clock in the morning. I have two children in the vehicle. I try to find a safe location for them to fully wake up before we start our day, being that it's so early in the morning. I usually try to find a safe spot where it's either people that's going to be at or an environment where I feel safe. This particular day, it was by the Crown Hotel. I say about 7:30 in the morning. We're parked underneath a tree for shade for the children. I currently have a 14-year-old and I also have an 8-year-old. The 14-year-old was currently in the front seat. I was in the back seat with the 8-year-old. I see what at that time I thought was, he said he was a city worker cleaning the street. So first I look at the street sign to make sure that I wasn't like the only car on this particular side interrupting the cleaning, right? I see that other cars was there. I see him passing back and forth in front of our car. My 14 is in the front seat. He has his head down, but he's talking real aggressive. He's making up his face. Like, I don't know, like he was angered or triggered. I then proceed to go out the car. Once I get out the car, I let him know like, hey, at this time, I'm still talking in a soft tone voice because the children are in the car. So I'm like, in their sleep. So I'm like, hey, I don't know if you know, but that's a child in the front seat. And I see you looking real aggressive. Is something wrong? Is something happening? So he proceeds to cuss at me and tell me that he's doing his effing job. What is my problem? Am I mentally ill? All these degrading things, which I didn't do anything to trigger the reaction that I was getting from him. So at this point, I'm like, okay, it's 7:30 in the morning. You're really triggered. I'm like, are you on something? Because you're coming at me real aggressive. He starts blowing the blower in the car. So now the debris is getting on my children. So I'm like, hey, you putting the debris on my car, just wash the car. Like, are you okay? Like, I'm more concerned, like, is he okay? Because he was really triggered. So at this point, by me being a woman and two children, I don't attempt to play the masculine role. So I'm not going to attempt to try to go toe to toe with a man. So I'm like, hey, is everything okay? So he's going to proceed to cuss at me. As he walking away, he calls me and then proceed with the B word after that. First, I'm in a daze of what just happened. I'm trying to figure out what triggered this chain of events. Now, by him being loud and the kids hearing curse words. So my son wakes up, the 14-year-old wakes up. He's like, hey, don't call my mom that. He proceeds to get out the car because remember, I'm out the car. So I said, Denim, no, you stay in the car because he's already triggered. And all it takes is a chain of reaction for him to say, hey, he got out the car and he charged at me. And like I said before, us being unhoused, I try to make sure that the kids are in a safe environment just in case something does happen. It doesn't look like the children are in danger, right? And we do understand how Department of Children's Services work, right? They take the children first, they ask questions last, right? So by we being unhoused, my only shield of protection is the children right now in the midst of our storm. So I tell my son, hey, stay in the car. I try to proceed to ask his name or his supervisor number. He was telling me he didn't have to give it to me. He's still cussing at me at this point. Like, I don't have to give it to you. I ain't gotta effing give it to you. What are you mentally? Something like he was determined to put some type of like substance on me, mental. He didn't say drug, but he was trying to put some type of energy on me. So I then proceeded to talk to his coworker and asked his coworker, "Hey, what is your supervisor number or your name?" And he said that they didn't have to give me nothing. They're not gonna give me anything. As this is occurring, a police drives down the street. He flags down the police. It looked like he was trying to get the police to engage with me, right? But the police obviously seen that he was acting outrage and they seen his energy. One of the police was like, "Hey, you can't walk up on her like that." So I did command San Pedro, one of the police officers, even though they didn't take initially a report or anything like that, but he did acknowledge that he seen that like I was in fear, and he did see that the guy was charging at me. And at that point, I still didn't understand and couldn't understand what was happening because it was happening rapid. It was happening 7:30 in the morning. I didn't understand what triggered it, but it did bother me and it did kind of shatter me. He insulted me in front of my children. He degraded me in front of my children. I shared it with some people that I know, and Brother Ali reached out to me and said, "Hey, I stay in the area too. What's going on?" So I told him, and a couple other community outreachers acted swiftly, I should say, being that it was two Black African American children that was also involved in the situation when he was acting inappropriate. The conclusion was that a person that did this to us got fired. And even though that sounds like, yeah, he got fired, we hit his pockets, I still wondered why. Why did he do that? Why did he engage in that? What happened? I know that sometimes when racial things happen to us, like him getting fired, it's not really in conclusion onto why he acted that way. And I feel like even though he got fired, what it did was just cause another chain of events to say, okay, this is why I don't like Black people. I did feel hate, disgusted. I did feel like violated. I did, and even my children had felt different and inappropriate about it. And I got scared because I was like, okay, well, I don't even want to be in that area because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to come for me now. Fear automatically shifted in me, right? I don't have nobody to protect me. It's just me and my children. So fear instantly came into like my life now in the midst of our storm of being unhoused. I did call 211 and report the incident, but I didn't understand why was that much hate, allocated to me and my children.